how it's going.
Definitely a caretaker. Okay, what else is it today? Oh, it's National Eat Your Vegetables Day. And that's perfect because I've been on this crazy kick for cauliflower.
Oh.
I don't know, like looks like a brain, so I feel like my brain is getting stimulated when I eat it.
Okay,
And
sure.
it's just I love it for some reason. Every day I'm tapping into the cauliflower.
Good. I'm really happy for you. That's
You don't like cauliflower?
I didn't say anything about cauliflower. I'm just saying I'm happy for you. I think that's great.
Okay. You sound skeptical of the love for cauliflower. It's
I'm
like
not going to fall down the cauliflower rabbit hole here at the beginning of the show, but I am happy.
There's a rabbit hole? I didn't
Don't
know there
worry
was a
about it.
rabbit hole. I just
Don't
like the
worry
flavor.
about it. There's a rabbit hole for everything.
That's true. You're right. Okay. Well, here we are. We're back. What's going on? Is there something
we're
happening
back.
in the
It's
world?
Wednesday. It's good. Just a quick notice here. Gons, I don't know if this will be something that you were going to mention, but do we still have the dog and the children in the studio today with us?
Well, yes. Yes, right now we do. We have two dogs. We're watching the neighbor's dog, and the 5-year-old son.
We got some feedback. We got some feedback about the fun flavor, the authentic flavor. And, you know, for us, there's a way to think about it that this is sort of, I don't know, a filtering mechanism, a certification mechanism that this is not AI. The fact that we have dogs and children in the background.
I think so,
you know, it's a reminder that it's a show for humans and it's a family-friendly show. So
it's a show for humans by humans. Imagine that. We have to say that now every time until the AI starts saying it, and then they would be lying, you know? So
yes, well, the deceiver is very clever. All right. Well, I suppose, I don't have anything extra to do. Let's just jump right into the news, man. People want the news. We've had some, I will say, we've had mostly some polite feedback with the style and format of the show recently. And I just want everybody to know, thank you very much for the feedback. And we're going to continue to try to balance what brings value to all the different kinds of listeners to the show. So to start it off, here's some news.
My generation is, hopefully with the advances in science, the first generation to live forever, or the last generation that's going to die.
Yes. We are starting off with Wired.com. Leak exposes members of Peter Thiel's secretive dialogue society.
Secretive society. One thing I love about this article, and I'm not going to make a big deal about it, okay, as we're in the age of re-enchantment and the mainstream media is having to adapt how to talk to people, how to report, and how to keep their attention. At least in the headline, they do a good job of not saying secret society, you know, Peter Thiel's secret society, because of course that would be crazy. That's a conspiracy theory. But if you call it a secretive society, then, you know, that's Wired headline worthy. So I think maybe it's a good idea for us to start calling like the Illuminati, Freemasons. They're not secret societies. That's crazy tinfoil hat stuff. They are just secretive societies.
They even put the word in parentheses dialogue in between. Secretive dialogue society.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
dialogue will be the name. That'll be the name of the society, which is very Silicon Valley, it's good camouflage. It's good hiding in plain sight, like every good secretive society does. It hides in plain sight, right? Okay, let's get
it. Implies they talk, though. You know, not all secret societies talk. It could be that it could be secretive ritual society, you know?
Yeah, right. No, that's good.
Anyway. A trove of internal documents or records from a secret society. Well, they just pulled off the secret.
There it is. They can't help themselves.
They can't help it. It's right there.
Secret society.
A trove of internal records from a secret society for powerful figures in U.S. politics, finance, and tech was left exposed online. Wired has confirmed, naming participants in its events and revealing sensitive personal details that were assured would stay private. And I love that Wired is in the business of expose things. That was like early 2010s YouTube.
Exactly.
Type stuff. The group called Dialogue is a private invitation-only organization co-founded in 2006 by the billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel. It convenes U.S. officials, foreign government figures, and Silicon Valley executives at off-the-record annual retreats. That sounds familiar. Dialogue has spent 2 decades declining to disclose its members.
Now,
directory.
just to mention here, for those who are just listening, it's easy to miss, but dialogue, as in the name of the secret society, is spelled D-I-A, dia, L-O-G, log, right? Which is not the correct spelling of the word dialogue, which includes a U-E at the end. So I love it how even, Silicon Valley, tech industry, famous for like naming apps and businesses like simple words, but with like vowels missing, or with, you got to spell the word weird somehow. That makes it sort of trendy and cool. And considering that Dialogue, the Secret Society, is from like 2006, it's very much a reflection of that early, like Silicon Valley era, which is very cool. I've not dug into it on the back end myself, but I think there's something to say with the spelling of dialogue, like D-I-A, sort of a reference to various languages' roots for God, log, talking about logos or logic or something. I don't know. There's something there. Okay, I'm just saying. But right off the bat, the picture of this secret society, and the article will compare it to like some of the classic secret societies, but in writing about it, they're doing a great job of like juxtaposing old classic secret societies with this like new Silicon Valley tech trendy kind of thing, which I think is very interesting given the circumstances. Okay.
Yeah, I also, just for the record here, I know that there are people, we've been covering Peter Thiel for, nearly 10 years. We've been
Too long.
keeping an eye on him. But there are others, people like Whitney Webb, who have written extensively on sort of the surveillance state and all this kind of stuff. And she dialed in on Peter Thiel for years. And I don't think she's ever covered this group. So I could be wrong. Find it. Yeah, if she has, then
Thiel experts, right? It's weird to learn anything new about Peter Thiel, especially learning something new that is 20 years old about Peter Thiel.
Right.
So the secret society has been successfully secretive for a while.
Right. But it does bring up the question, why are they allowed to be not secret anymore as of June 2026?
We'll find out. These ding-dang hackers. Real quick before you continue, shout out to One Lousy Petunia over on the X feed here. Made a comment in the Discord voice chat with some Canarians. Watch party. Okay, so apparently there's a show watch party in a voice channel in the Discord. Shout out to the Discord. If you want to join in or are not part of the Discord yet, get connected with other Canarians, go to canarycry.party. You will see a link to the Discord channel. Click on that and go get into the watch party. That's very fun. Good job to all the Discord people.
Do it quick. They're going to lock it down.
Yeah.
And they're not going to let anybody else in. They better do it quickly. All right. So yes, Dialogue has spent 2 decades declining to disclose its members. They've done a good job. A directory in its website's code was first revealed by the Swiss hacktivist Maya Arson, Crime W.
Now, with this, I'm not trying to make a big deal about it, but something that is weird is that in the hacktivist's name, I'm actually, there it is. Okay. The hacktivist name's Maya Arson Crimiu.
Is that how you say it? Crimiu?
None of those names are capitalized. They don't capitalize the first letter of Maya or of Arson or of Crimiu. I don't know if this is a mistake. I don't know if, I was thinking, oh, maybe this is like a fake name, so they don't capitalize, but that's not true. You would capitalize a name. It's a proper noun. So they're not actually like literarily treating this hacktivist as a proper noun, which is weird. I don't know. Just a weird thing I noticed.
I'm also wondering, I mean, what's the time for this? Well, maybe we'll look into it. A source separately involved. The directory of websites code was first revealed by the Swiss hacktivist Maya Arsene-Crimiu, known for exposing the U.S. government's no-fly list and breaching the surveillance camera company Verkada. Crimiu tells Wired the directory surfaced via an anonymous tip. Wired independently verified its contents. A source separately provided Wired with the registration list for Dialogue's 2026 retreat, which names 222 people and records what the list describes as each registrant's membership status and attendee type, including active member and guest. The retreat is scheduled for August 12th through the 16th at a venue near Dublin, Ireland.
Not so secretive anymore. We know where your meeting is and when it is.
And do we know when this leak happened? Is there any indication in the article?
Good question. It doesn't come to mind now. Maybe it's in here. Maybe they don't say, which would be interesting if it didn't
I'm
say.
only asking because we did just have Claude released a public version of Mythos, which was called Fable. Yeah, Fable 5. And they pulled it back almost right away.
Yeah.
So,
it's possible that, the release of the Mythos level Fable 5 cybersecurity threat AI may have
exposed it, and they're like, pull it back. They already hacked. They already exposed Peter Thiel's secret society. We got to shut it down.
So August 12th through 16th, that's coming up at a venue near Dublin, Ireland. I mean, interesting because Ireland is I guess a focus of attention in the news right now, or at least for the past week. And 222 people were registered for that.
Yeah, 222. Perfect for rituals. Perfect number for rituals in the binary. The same data lays out a program of off-the-record sessions, including money, parentheses, does, question mark, buy happiness. That sounds like a great meeting. Quote, bring back nuclear. Quote, navigating World War III.
Oh, good.
Quote, battlefield technologies. And quote, how's your sex life? That's good. They're covering all the facets of life there.
Oh, it gets even better. Check it. It's funny because the classes or the workshops or the lectures, the sessions, it's this very funny and interesting mix of like, tech conference, maybe leadership conference, maybe couples, like romance conference. And then you get into this next one, which is very fun.
Other talks include build a cult.
Yay, build a cult.
Like build a cult, moderated by the founder of the Christian networking site pray.com. I knew there was something wrong with that whole situation there when it first came out. And, quote, build a party run by a former White House national security official, like a political party. Not like a Canary Cry party. This is a political party.
So we have an interesting, I'm not going to spend too much time going in on it, but super secret club, super secret conference, the names of the workshops, some of them very funny in how pedestrian they are, right? Money does buy happiness, bring back nuclear, navigating World War III, kind of getting into this kind of weird, billionaire. There's something weird in the flippancy or the casualness of like, hey, come learn how to navigate World War III. How's your sex life? And then build a cult, like how to build a cult. But the build a cult being moderated, keyword moderated, whatever that means, by founder of the Christian networking site pray.com, which is very specific because of Peter Thiel, his self-proclaimed Christianity, the reported rise in Christianity in Silicon Valley. And so you have this sort of represented in this weird secret society conference. You know, here's how to build a cult from the Christian networking. You know, it's interesting because it doesn't say the Christian founder of the networking site pray.com. It says the founder of the Christian networking site pray.com.
So he himself doesn't have to be a Christian.
It's at least not reported that way, that the founder himself is Christian, just that he is, you know, operating in the sort of Christian economy, kind of.
Sorry, I got to hand scissors to the son here. He's old enough to handle scissors now.
Wow.
Okay. Sorry, I lost my spot here. Let's see. Okay. The
Together
alongside the mundane fare of a typical thought leadership conference, the documents show an extraordinary convergence of power. The registration records list General Alexis Grankowicz, NATO's Supreme Allied Commander Europe, and the head of U.S. European Command, who took the post in July 2025, and is recorded on the leaked list as having attended dialogue gatherings since 2021. The website directory names sitting Trump administration official and 2 U.S. senators, 6 members of the PayPal mafia, a former Middle East chief of intelligence, and a sitting ambassador to the United States, along with the founders and directors of many of the country's largest surveillance data broker and advertising data companies.
Very powerful people. 222 of the most powerful people.
Do we have a 222 jingle for producers?
I think we would have, but I don't know if it ever got made.
Oh, it's 223 because it's the opposite of 322. Close. We're one off. Let's see. Those executives appear side by side with senior U.S. officials overseeing their industries. Auren Hoffman, Dialogue's chairman, founded the location data broker SafeGraph and the identity resolution firm LiveRamp, 2 of the most important suppliers in the consumer data economy. He appears in the directory alongside Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, whose department writes the rules for financial data, and Senator Ted Cruz. Chairman of the Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, which oversees the Federal Trade Commission and its Data Privacy Authority. Wow. Okay. So Auren Hoffman, that sounds familiar. Is that okay? This is any relation to the who's the other Hoffman? The LinkedIn or not LinkedIn?
Reid Hoffman.
Reddit. Yeah. Reddit. Reid Hoffman, maybe.
Reid Hoffman. Yeah.
Palantir co-founder Joe Lonsdale, whose software runs case management for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and data fusion for the Pentagon and intelligence community, is listed in the same society as Army Secretary Dan Driscoll and Representative Jim Himes, the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, which oversees agencies Palantir contracts with. So, why are they all part of the current administration?
Well, it's not even the current administration. It's the new Illuminati, right? Where Bohemian Grove or the what is it? The
Bilderberg Group.
Thank you, Bilderberg Group. They actually even reference Bilderberg Group in here.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to get stuck on the individuals and the specifics here necessarily.
Yeah.
But we've talked about in the past the sort of transition from the old New World Order to the new World Order, and it's funny because as they describe this quote unquote secretive society, they don't describe anything outlandish, right? It's not that they're meeting at Bohemian Grove, wearing robes, doing sacrifices, whatever. The practical description of what they're doing is just like a tech conference, but it happens to have, all these very important, powerful people, and they happen to be very secretive about it. But that kind of shows the exact kind of camouflage, hiding in plain sight, this new age of total global domination, which is no less esoteric, no less sort of occult informed, but with this kind of silly Silicon Valley normie kind of camouflage to it. So let's keep going. Keeps getting interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm wondering if they mention these particular names because they're currently in office in high places in government, or if the list is just filled with people who just happens to be
well, remember that this is Wired, so they're reporting on it because they want to make a point that Trump and the Trump administration is bad and doing corrupt things in the secret society. That's kind of the vibe, the point of the whole thing. So even describing dialogue as a secret society, not that it's not a secret society, but that Wired would have no incentive to draw connections to secret societies or past secret societies if it wasn't a way to slander and fight against the current, global world order, right?
It looks like
and its effects.
It looks like they've been very effective in getting into public positions
everywhere.
Of power.
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the whole point,
it's
right?
exactly who you would expect to be in the new version of Bohemian Grove or whatever.
Right. And like you said, it's Wired, so they may not mention some names that would implicate their own sort of associations with certain people, maybe.
Yeah, well, they have no interest. They have no interest in actually talking about secret societies, as a real concept, but they're using the sort of symbolism and rhetoric of secret societies to wield against, this new world order without necessarily getting into the history of it.
They're exposing the deep state.
Mm-hmm.
None of the individuals named in this story responded to requests for comment. Rafi Grinberg, who lists himself as Dialogue's executive director on his LinkedIn profile, and is the author of the self-help book How to Be Grown Up, did not respond to a request for comment. Don't talk to my wife. She might make me buy that book and read it. The registration records. Oh, gosh, I keep saying
you're having a hard time.
I'm having a hard time with that. I don't know what's going on. The registration, it's because I got dogs barking and my son's like doing stuff over here.
Whenever you want me to help carry you, along the beach where two sets of footprints go into one set of footprints, and that's when Basil carried me through the article. You just let me know.
Okay, I'll hand it off to you in a minute here. The registration records appear to show not only who belong to Dialogue, but who attends. Thank you. I think you mentioned that earlier. Of the 222 people signed up for the 2026 retreat, according to the leaked records, 87 are marked as first-time attendees. Other list histories stretching back more than a decade and a handful to the society's founding 20 years ago. None of the registrants, Grinkowicz included, used a government email address. Well, that's good. There's something to be learned from the Hillary Clintons of the world.
Mm-hmm.
All registered with personal or corporate accounts, placing their attendance outside the email systems subject to public records laws. I mean, that makes sense.
Implying corruption involved with this, which is true, but it's kind of funny from the mainstream side of it. That's how you get them, right? They use the wrong email address,
right? Yeah. What ties the roster together more than any title or office is a shared preoccupation with artificial intelligence, longevity, and the near future. Asked on a sign-up form to predict the future, registrants returned again and again to the same theme, that AI will reorder work, war, education, and belief, within a few years. Several foresee mass labor displacements and a swing back toward unions and government programs. Others predict an AI winter, domestic terrorism targeting data centers, criminal defendants choosing AI lawyers over public defenders, or religious revival provoked by the disruption.
Interesting.
Quote, societal degeneration, predicted one person, will continue to accelerate. It sounds like we could kind of be, we would be talking all day, all night at this meeting, I mean, not to.
Yeah, I mean, we would be great
like,
speakers, at this. I mean, praise God that we are not in the position where we are being asked to do that. That's great. But I mean, it shows interestingly enough, in the broad scope of interests of the new world order secret societies, just happens to be all interested in the exact same things that Canary Cry has been obsessed with for many years now.
Members also list talents like funhouse construction.
Now,
That's kinda
real quick, because
creepy.
this gets a little weird for a second.
Yeah.
What they're reporting on now is they got all the credentials and the data of people who signed up on the website for this thing, for the secret society,
Right.
as they put it. And this is all in the context of like the dangers of cybersecurity and how nothing is private anymore. There's an irony to like Palantir members of this society having their data leaked because the website wasn't secure enough, stuff like this. And there's this humorous insight, which has always been a part of secret societies, right?
Yeah.
It's been part of the thing that people like to try to debunk secret societies or debunk Freemasonry, or debunk, oh, their rituals are silly. They're just men playing playing children's games, or, oh, it's just a bunch of nerds. Oh, it's just a bunch of, whatever. That's part of it. But through these leaked documents, you get to see the questions that are asked like on the registration form, which apparently is like, how do you see the beast system, taking shape over the next few years? And also like list your talents and interests, your interests and talents, to see if you're like a good fit for the secret society, which is kind of this, again, kind of silly, kind of childish. But if you think of the more darker aspects of some of the old school secret societies, where rituals and crime and sexual deviancy is like kind of all part of the vetting process of, sort of more classic secret societies, they're trying to reflect a similar thing here. But making it seem more like setting up a dating profile, right?
Specifically, I think they mentioned
we will get
literal dating profile later. Yeah.
Right. So it's more like signing up for a dating profile to be able to get involved. But again, you've got Wired simultaneously using the language of conspiracy theory and secret society to bring attention and almost simultaneously mock and defend against the idea that secret societies are something that have been real and ruling the world for a long time. It's a very sort of subtle and clever piece of propaganda here, but also very fun and weird.
Yeah, literal. Members also list talents like funhouse construction.
That is sinister.
Isn't that the most creepy? Like, you can't get any creepier than that, right?
That is very occult and sinister and weird. If you're listing a talent of yours as funhouse construction, that seems like code. That seems like, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah. Accent imitation to deceive many. Backcountry skiing to hide all the dead bodies. Urban exploration, similar reasons, and, quote, meditative and psychedelic inquiry into the nature of reality, end quote. And so drugs. One offers, quote, compassion and existential dread. Wow. Who's that?
It's talent.
What talents do you have? I offer compassion and existential dread. Wow. They must really think there's something, huh? If you can actually do both. Another, quote, dinner parties, keeping secrets, remembering birthdays. That's a gay member or a female. I'm just going to call it now. Their book recommendations skew towards the canonical and optimization-minded Marcus Aurelius and Milan Kundera, alongside Annie Duke's Thinking in Bets, Peter Attila's Outlive, and from at least one attendee, Thiel's own 0 to 1. Really trying to kiss up to the people running it here. Yeah. Dialogue also plays matchmaker. Yay! Its participant form asks registrants whether they are, quote, looking for love, and offers to include, quote, single man, single woman, or other. respondents in, quote, future matchmaking. A separate site, and this is hyperlinked, dating.dialogue.org, hosts an app pitched as, quote, meaningful connections for exceptional people. Got to keep the bloodline tight. Got to keep
exactly.
gotta keep the bloodline in the elite. I can't allow these peon normies to get in there. The forum also gathers sensitive answers, including each registrant's political leanings, which Dialogue promises, quote, will not be shared in the app or with other participants ever.
Then
That
why
data-
ask? Then why ask? It is
you should be
that's blackmail. They're just asking for blackmail things, right? This is a classic cult maneuver, a classic loyalty forcing mechanism, is to say, hey, tell me your secrets, the type of thing that I could blackmail you with, so you can show loyalty. We know that you're serious, right? To say, hey, give us your political leanings. Don't worry, we won't promise it. We won't tell anybody. Then why are you asking? What is the point?
That data and the matchmaking responses were exposed in the leak.
Whoopsies.
As expected. The records sit in Airtable, a commercial database. For each participant, Dialogue logs a membership status, every retreat the person has attended, a biography, a home city, and a private access token. Wired is not publishing the token, which functions as login credentials or as personalized account links that contain them. Good job, Wired. Like telling, people that read Wired are a little more tech savvy, right? Like that's kind of the target audience. Just being like, we will not publish the tokens. Wink, wink. Go look for the tokens, everybody. Go scour the Reddit threads and find all the leaked tokens. It's a little.
If you wanted, the next 4 or 5 paragraphs are kind of all just explaining the kind of tech rigmarole about how things were leaked. Basically explaining kind of in detail how insecure the web page was. So I don't know. It might not be the most interesting thing to talk about.
We don't have to go through the details, but let's just assume that this type of hack will become very much an everyday situation.
That's kind of the
quantum
thing, right?
computing becomes a little more prevalent. But yeah, we should expect to see this type of thing in the near future with all systems, all encryption, until we, appropriately move on to quantum proof or post-quantum proof technologies, which is on the horizon. The discipline imposed by the group did not extend to its website. The directory was embedded in the code of dialogue.org on your empty page and was served to any visitor who viewed the page's source. Oh my gosh, really? How's that a hack? You don't even have to hack to do that. You just got to toggle on the page's source and you can see everything. The separate Dialogue page at app.dialogue.org presents a sign-in screen for Dialogue Global 2026 outside Dublin. The page invites any visitor to sign in by email or Google account. Okay. Dialogue has operated.
Real quick, it's interesting. The one thing that I got from all the tech stuff, they're basically saying whoever made this website was so not interested in cybersecurity that is just embarrassing. And it makes me wonder, maybe that's on purpose, right? Maybe
that's what I was saying earlier. Like, what's
some reason why a mainstream reporting of a leak or a hack of the activity of this secretive society, maybe it's to kind of give some sort of esteem to Dialogue. Maybe they want the public to know that there's a, quote, secret society of tech guys and politicians and stuff who are gathering and whatever, deciding the fate of the world or something. This seems like a chess move, but not just any chess move. It seems like they're just moving a pawn or something, like opening up some sort of play to look like they're getting caught in the act for some purpose.
Oh no, we've been exposed, everybody.
Right?
And Wired being like, we won't publish the tokens that gives you access to everything. And
they
it's like,
want to be seen as a sort of secret society. There's an elevation of reputation if it goes from like, oh, it's just a conference. But now if everybody thinks that this conference is a secret society, it gains a prestige. It
It's a
gains
prestige. It's a prestige, and you attract both the curious minded, but really you attract the internet. Yeah, sort I don't know, seekers.
Yeah. It's a
To really
wonderful
get in there.
marketing ploy, to put it in sort of layman's terms. But of course, we
Mhm.
know that marketing, advertising, mind control is all sort of
It's all
anything but layman.
yeah. And I do think that it's interesting that it's on Wired, and there's the tech savvy side to this, because this type of thing might also be used as similar to the Cicada 3301, maybe a decade ago, where it'll weed out some of the just normies that are, kind of repeating things out there, and the ones that are actually tech savvy that can get in there and start finding documents or whatever it
Yeah.
may be.
There may be a
because
game aspect to this.
it
Right.
gets definitely gamified, because those people can be recruited. Be like, hey, you did a great job finding all that stuff. Why don't you? We can use you. We can use you on the dark
Yeah,
side.
or something, right? Or
Yeah, right,
and
right.
especially right now where cybersecurity, I mean, there's people, total normies in my life, who are far away and I speak to very rarely, who are texting me about like, "Oh my gosh, should I take out my life savings out of a bank because I hear AI can hack everything?" I'm thinking about just, should I just take out all cash or buy all gold? Like, total normies are contemplating making drastic life
Mhm.
decisions because of the now widespread fear about cybersecurity when it comes to AI.
Yeah, the
And
AI
so
will be supercharged with quantum in a couple
and
years.
there's
So,
sort of a transparency play here. Again, just
mhm.
part of the chess game of, hey, cybersecurity is such an issue that even secret societies are
Mhm.
being revealed. Ooh, be afraid, be
You
very
know,
afraid. Your
the
secrets are
real the real movers and shakers behind the scene probably have tech that are, several years advanced from what the public has, and they're probably already on that network, so they can let this one go to waste and just, throw it under
yeah,
the bus, and it'll be useful. It'll be a useful deconstruction, like any destruction of a building, for
yeah, it's
example.
definitely
That's all.
prepping everybody for something.
Yeah. Dialogue has operated with little public footprint since its founding. It holds at least one retreat a year with assigned seating, moderated sessions, and a rule that nothing said is for attribution. Past gatherings have been held at the Ritz-Carlton Dove Mountain in Arizona and the San Clemente Palace in Venice, Italy, according to Axios, which first reported the group's plans for a campus in the Washington, D.C. area.
Of
It
course.
has been likened to a tech industry version of Bilderberg. Hey, there it is.
Mhm,
The off-the-record gathering of Western political and business elites.
mhm.
And Bilderberg was exposed what, 30 years ago? I mean, it's been
Yeah,
a
well,
long time since Bilderberg was exposed.
and
So,
it's interesting because when Bilderberg was exposed, the mainstream rebuttal is like, "Hey, you're calling this a secret society, but it's not a secret society. It's just a gathering of all the most important people in the world who decide the fate of the
decide
world,"
everything.
right? This
Right.
is, of course, just sort of kind of uh, that cycle of like, um, "No, you're crazy. It's not happening. Okay, it's happening, but it's actually good," or what, the cycle I'm talking about, "Oh, no, it's not happening, you're crazy conspiracy theorist. Yeah, it's okay, it's happening, but not like you say." And then, "Oh, yes, it's happening exactly like you say, but it's a good thing,"
It's
right?
a right, yeah. Right. Okay. So I think we're towards the end here. Accounts describe retreats around 100 participants. The 2026 registration list reviewed by Wired names 222. Okay, they're repeating a lot of the same information. Public glimpses are rare. The statistician Andrew Gelman published one of Dialogue's invitations to his blog in 2022, describing its format and a registration fee of more than $16,000. In 2024, the 2024 retreat drew renewed attention this year when an invitation forwarded to the financier Jeffrey Epstein surfaced in the U.S. Justice Department's release of the Epstein files.
Now, notice
Mhm.
the 2014 retreat drew renewed attention this year when an invitation forwarded to the financier,
Well, I was going to
Jeffrey
say, yes, they have the little update at the
not
bottom here.
yeah, you're right. Oh, interesting. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't see that little thing at the end. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it says here, yeah, a Jeff Epstein appears on the attached list of past participants, but the person is actually the former CFO of Oracle, not the deceased sex offender.
Oh, weird.
Update 6/16/2026, 5:47 p.m. Wired updated the article to correct a conflation of two people named Jeff Epstein. A small revision was also made to address security concern raised by Dialogue's representatives.
Oh, so they're saying there's two people. There's Jeffrey Epstein, because the invitation does appear in the financier Jeffrey Epstein after the Justice Department's release of the Epstein files. And then there was also a member named Jeff Epstein. So it's kind of a weird, almost unneeded update or differentiation, I guess, maybe, because they're not even saying, the update isn't even saying that, like, yeah, that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't there. Like, that wasn't that was a mistake. It was a different Jeff Epstein. No, that Jeffrey Epstein was there. There was just also another Jeff Epstein. Again, they're calling this guy a financier, not pedophile, not sexual criminal, nothing. Just a financier, Jeffrey Epstein, 2014.
Yeah. See, I think
which would have been the year before his 2015 criminal case.
So when they say financier Jeff Epstein, I think they are talking about, you know, the notorious Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Because I just clicked on that link because it takes us to, you know, justice.gov. It gives you the email, redacted stuff. Invite to Dialogue 2014, mentions Peter Thiel and Aaron Hoffman. And this is in the Epstein files. So that is the Epstein. But then there was also another Jeff Epstein, CFO of Oracle, which is was also included. So okay, all right. I mean,
a weird differentiation, like a weird thing to point out, because it doesn't change the point at all that Jeffrey Epstein was at least invited. Now, a previous version of this, they did update this since I saw yesterday, because there was a part that talked about, you know, we don't know if Jeffrey Epstein actually attended. They said a lot more about that. So that might have been part of the update. But again, it seems like a differentiation without a difference on this update.
Well,
so I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they clarified it because I can see how it might be a little confusing, because the name Jeff Epstein, former CFO of Oracle, is mentioned in the letter on the justice.gov Epstein list of emails that were released. So I can see how that can, you know, there's like an inception going on there. The name Jeff Epstein in the Epstein files, you know. So anyway, all right, great. You know, who cares? Point is, it's all exposed. Peter Thiel's secretive dialogue society. That's also a dating app. You know what I did know? You know what I did notice though? One thing very interesting about this whole dating app situation, if we're thinking, you know, how the elite think about the world and stuff, there is not this, hey, we got AI for you, we got robot romance for you. You know, they're very much like, no. Find your partner in our circles.
Are very pro-natalist. They're very.
They are.
You need to keep bloodlines.
Depopulation for thee, but not for me, kind of thing, right? That's that's what's going on. So, just interesting that you know, we tend to think that they want to just kind of mate with robots or something, but not for them. They want to keep going on living forever. The rest of us can die off by marrying robots. I think that's their agenda there. But you know, we'll see how this all plays out and the cultural reaction to all this over time, because I'm sure this is not the end of the story.
Like I said, back to what exactly is this? It seems like it seems like a pawn moving on the chessboard, some sort of opening move, you know, triggering or inviting those who are experiencing some sort of the re-enchantment or getting into conspiracy theories, or maybe on the sidelines of kind of conspiracy theory stuff, which basically includes everybody in the world. You're either a full-on conspiracy theorist now, or you're being invited by events happening every day, depending. But it seems like a type of diversion that will make a lot more sense, specifically in the context, I think, of Peter Thiel in coming news cycles, right? It's sort of setting the stage for some other thing. And I don't know exactly what
Well,
that
I think this is part of the marketing too, because the article didn't mention that they're creating a permanent campus near Washington D.C. So once you go from like secret meeting to, hey, let's put a building up, like a,
yeah,
like a building near D.C. Let's put. I mean, it becomes public anyway.
Your
So
headquarters is a part of the occult and esoteric architectural structure of the sort of spell sigil that is the layout of Washington D.C. Once you have a spot on the sigil, literally in the geography, then that's a very powerful thing.
And think about what they were talking about: build a cult, build a party.
Mhm. Right.
What do you think they're going to try to do? They're going to try to build a cult and a party.
And a party, right?
So this is
technocratic, pseudo Christological cult party, basically.
Yeah, man. It's like they're anticipating the network state, and they're using, obviously there's going to be like this Christian flavor to it or something, or at least in titles and names or something to appeal to the current milieu.
Humanism, even Christian humanism, Silicon Valley weird Peter Thiel Christianity, right? The pieces are set in motion. People are waking up to spiritual realities, and we see all these attempts to divert people waking up to spiritual realities into anything other than the gospel. And in this case, it's sort of technocratic cult.
And how do you get more people wanting to join? You got to tell them about it.
Yeah, they got to know.
Because
it's got to seem exclusive.
It feels very exclusive.
Fun.
Ted Cruz went. Think about these billionaires that are like, Ted Cruz is there and I'm not there. You can play on people's prides. Right. And
the inclusion of the fun part too. Like that's a part of like the cult thing, is you got to give the impression that you're actually having fun in there. So the revealing of like, hey, what are your special talents? What are your special interests? What do you think the beast system will be like? Do you want to find love? Like somebody could be like, oh my gosh, that's I want all of those things.
I'm rich, I'm lonely, and I want more followers. I'm joining. Where do I sign up? How do I get in? Because if it was so exclusive, part of the issue with Freemasonry in the last few years, because it's gotten so exposed, no one's joining. There's like no new recruits, and it's the organization is sort of not as powerful and secretive as before because everything's kind of been exposed. But for a truly secretive group to actually gain traction, you got to play into that. It's like the internet, right? It was a place. It was a communication network for the intelligence agencies to communicate. But if it's just those people communicating, then once anybody or an adversary discovers the network, all of your stuff is exposed. Now you got to open it up, allow regular people in there a little bit, and then it'll seem more, just kind of hide in the crowd kind of thing.
It disarms the critique.
Yeah. So I think we are going to hear more about dialogue as the days and months go on, and it'll be both much like Peter Thiel, his track record, both the most dystopic and troubling thing ever, and at the same time, the only way we will survive the apocalypse kind of language being attached to its
and it's interesting because using the language of secret societies makes you go, oh my gosh, this is very heavy. But then you read it and it's mostly like, hey, isn't this embarrassing that this leaked? Isn't it embarrassing that they got hacked? It's so silly. It's a bunch of rich people trying to date and go to conferences and do nerdy, lectures and stuff. Like it's more trying to seem embarrassing than it is to say like, hey, wake up. There's secret elites who are meeting and doing stuff. And there's like it's much less like, oh my gosh, your worldview needs updating. Nothing is as it seems. These elite lizard people are gathering together and doing, which a lot of people experienced in Bilderberg, Bohemian Grove, Freemasonry or whatever. But Wired's coming along and more doing like isn't it embarrassing that these billionaires are getting together trying to date and taking lectures on how to build a cult? It's very sort of disarming. It's very interesting.
Well, and also it bolsters the secrecy within.
Mhm.
If it's secret without any outside knowledge, there's some, I guess there can be some, advantage or power to that. But if you really want to move and shake in the world, you got to have both. You got to have like even Freemasonry, you have your first, second, third degree. You got to get past the third degree if you want to start moving up the real ranks into the 33rd degree and all that stuff. So that's all more inside.
Yeah,
and so you got to create those hierarchy.
Yeah, that's how Freemasonry is introduced as well. It's like, hey, no, it's a bunch of guys who get together and talk about doing charity, or the Shriners, like, oh, they wear funny hats and drive around and drink on Wednesdays or something. Yeah, like
it builds mythology. This all builds mythology about the inner, what are they really talking about? Like, yeah, they have these sessions that are kind of ridiculous, and they want to build a cult, and we can be kind of mad about that or outraged about their hubris or something like that. But what are they really talking about on the inside? What are the private conversations like? And that creates mystique and mythology surrounding all of it, which gives them more power. We talk about the re-enchantment, this gives them almost like a sacred supernatural power over society. So the more I'm thinking about this and talking about this is like, I don't think this was like, oh no,
you can almost draw out a roadmap, right? They're just playing through an ancient roadmap of how to gain, maintain, and increase power. With that, Guns, let's keep going because we got a lot more news to cover here.
Yeah.
You want to take a second and thank some producers. Very important. We are on the value for value model, folks. You'll notice no advertisements, no sponsorships, no corporate money whatsoever. Because why would they? Why would they want to participate in keeping this alive? And why would we want their support in keeping things alive? Playing into that game and yoking ourselves to the mammon worshipping mind control system of media these days. But instead, value for value system, very easy. If you get any value from this show in the past, into the future, whatever it is, it's just an understanding that the only way that we can keep doing it is if people put value back in on a hopefully semi-regular basis. And you can put value back in with your time, your talent, your treasure, all sorts of ways to do it. If you want to learn more about it, just head on over to canarycry.support. Big old shout out to, of course, our monthly producers. We could not do it without every single one of our monthly producers, no matter how much they support the show on a monthly basis. I encourage anybody, if you want to make Gons and I feel warm and fuzzy inside, but also join the Canary Cry army to keep things going here, just go sign up for a monthly producership in whatever amount makes sense to you. But our executive producers are people who come in, they support the show for $100 or more for any individual episode, and we're so grateful and couldn't do without them as well. So these are our executive producers for episode 950 of Canary Cry News Talk. Starting with Arnold W. Arnold W. Yeah.
Thank you, Arnold W.
Yeah. I thought that Arnold W. had been knighted, but I then could not find any evidence to that. I mean, he certainly can and should be knighted whenever he wants. So I couldn't find him on any list, but we also don't keep very good lists. But big shout out to executive producer Arnold W. for keeping us alive here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Round number, which is a good reminder if anybody produces, no matter what amount you're producing in, if it's a nice round number, say on the 10 or the 5, that's you telling us you'd prefer we do not disclose it on the air. If you don't mind us disclosing it on the air, you can have some fun with the number, put 33 cents on there, 1111, 1 2 3 4 5, whatever. That tells us that you're okay with us disclosing it. And such is the case with, of course, our wonderful ongoing executive producer, Sir LX Protocol V2 Baron of the Breen Protocol.
Hey.
Aaron.
All right.
Coming in for $100.33. Thank you very much.
Talk about inner circle secret society.
That's
He might be
right.
running the show without even us knowing it, Basil.
It's
He might be the
possible. He's very powerful.
Yeah.
He comes in. He is on a 496 episode streak and a 150 executive producer streak. Thank you very much. Now that concludes our executive producers for the day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We got a couple of producers who came in under the executive producer amount, and they came in over $7.77, which means they are entitled to have a note read on the show if they would like. But of course, a big shout out to our current streaker of the year. That's producer Rebecca T.
Rebecca T. At it
And
again.
At it again. Rebecca T comes in for 3456, 3456.
3456. Not very nice.
And big day. It's been a while since somebody hit this streak. It is Rebecca T's 33rd episode in a row.
Officially solidified the Eliminated Lizard Master Show.
The most exciting streak.
That's right. Most exciting streak. Rebecca T, officially an illuminated lizard master shill, keeping the show alive. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rebecca T.
We got producer Parker N comes in for 1111.
Parker N. Thank you.
11.
Thank you. We've got producer Monica comes in for $8.88 and is on a 2-episode streak.
Hey, very nice.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
That's more than one.
It is. And she says, have a great show. Love you guys. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Monica.
Also, another fun one to have on the list is we have Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda, coming in.
Hey, Sir Darren. I saw Sir Darren respond to something on the X account there too. So
And the myth, the legend comes in for a pocket full of sevens, 777 plus some fees. Thank you. And leaves a note that says things that make you go, huh? Indeed. Indeed, indeed. Thank you, Sir Darren.
what is it? He's
This
leaving me on a
thing,
cliffhanger.
yeah. It's the
What
thing.
is it?
I don't know. That's the question. What is it? Huh?
What's the thing?
What
Is it?
God?
I don't know. It's driving me crazy.
It is everything. That concludes our list of financial producers who came in the amount of $7.77 or more. But we do, because it is Wednesday, we're going to thank people who come in under $7.77, mostly because they're keeping their streaks going. Starting with Dame Tinfoil Hat, Keeper of the Seeds.
Thank you, Dame Tinfoil Hat.
Yeah, and she's on a 221 episode streak.
Wow, that is
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Mm-hmm.
very close to the 223 streak.
And of course, we have Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Oh, on a 635 episode streak. Thank you, Sir Casey.
Oh, wow.
Okay. That concludes the list of financial producers for today. Thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it. We had, now remember, you can also produce the show with your talent. If you're a musician, if you're an artist, whatever, if you're a fushigi juggler, whatever your art is, you can create something for the show. Go to canarycry.art. You can upload it there to share it with us. We'd love to feature it on the show. This art and music gets used for all sorts of things for us. We appreciate it. And who was it? Oh, Jones. Jones came in with some very funny art in response, I think, to our piece on Hunter Biden and his art, his weird sort of esoteric art, and how that fits into his whole thing. I think that's the case because Jones comes in, he leaves a note that says, I was surprised what 40 minutes of time could do. So I'm assuming this is not AI, because it would not have taken 40 minutes if it was AI.
I mean, you can, there are some drawing apps that can definitely set you back some time.
Jones did this himself here.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. He can correct us, but he said, so I'll set a challenge to submit fart work for the show. Okay. It's the Jolmes Challenge, artists out there. Just go ahead and do it. And you don't even need to take 40 minutes like Jolmes did. You can take whatever time you want. And Jolmes gives us this piece of art. It's called Ascended Bird, which is, again, very reminiscent of Hunter Biden's art. And it's done in a very similar style as Hunter Biden. Very weird, very kind of sketchy, but also very esoteric. And it's really bizarre, but quite good. There's sort of a salmon-colored peach background with a different shade of salmon color circle, like a sun, perfect circle behind the character. And the character is sort of this almost early, what's that guy's name? Early Picasso, kind of sketchy, again, esoteric, muscular, strangely posed, nude canary man, but don't worry, it's the work. You know, he's
nude canary man is I like the description.
And the pose is very, I mean, this shows some real art education on Jones's side here.
Yeah.
This is the pose the canary man is in is very, very, you know, art schooly. I don't know how to explain it other than that, but he's sort of standing on one leg. His hand is kind of out. His fingers are splayed. The canary, it has the canary head, by the way, the googly-eyed canary head, looking up to the heavens. And in his left or right hand, depending how you want to do it, he's holding an apple, you know, very reminiscent of like esoteric Adam looking to
Here's why I think this is, first of all, it's digital, but also hand drawn digital, because you can see the brush strokes, right? You can see sort of the lines, the brush strokes of like a Photoshop or something when you have a brush. But also very well done on the shading. Like, look at this apple. Look at the 3 levels of shade, the different colors coming in. So definitely
it's very good
knowledge.
You could print this out, and if you could pass it off as an actual piece of art.
We should drape this on a 50-foot banner behind us.
I want to get it printed. I want to get it printed on a canvas and like put it behind me. Like, get rid of my green screen background. You know, green screen backgrounds are so, you know, they're so passe now. Everybody wants to like see the room that you're in.
My dirty room, my dirty office.
Print that out, put it behind me as like some weird, get all going. And
between the googly eyes and that thing, I mean, what a conversation starter.
Caretaker Dan, this would be an excellent, I might put this on the survey for t-shirts.
Mr. Council, what do you guys think?
Council.
Would you walk around with this?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it. I might even just get this made into a t-shirt for me. So
just for you,
I might make this one of the options. Of course, I'm not in control. The T-shirt Council votes. So go to canarycrysupplydrop.com, sign up, support the show, and become the one to choose the T-shirt for this quarter. But I'm gonna make this one of the options. I like it.
I think it's the tan peachy kind of background that really adds to this.
Beautiful,
good color choice. Good color choice.
Great job, Jones. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jones. Appreciate it.
And this is Jones putting out the challenge to any other artist or even non-artist.
Why did he say fart work? Is that because it's just he was making a joke?
Yeah, it's fart work.
Was there a method to this art that are a little bit more? I don't know.
I'm gonna assume that farting had nothing to do with the technical
technical.
Like this. I'm assume, but you know, artsy fartsy. You know, that's.
I see. I get it. Okay. Yeah. All right. That makes sense.
All right, let's get back to the show. We got stuff to cover here.
Be a Mary Poppins a song, maybe. Okay. Yeah, there you go. It works. You are re-enchantmentatious. There's nothing you can do. You're re-enchantmentatious. Listen to turbulence. It's Wednesday and we're here. To do the Wednesday show. And sorry, interpretation is everything you know.
It's the age of re-enchantment, everybody. It's the age of re-enchantment. There's no stopping it. The momentum of culture has everybody realizing, waking up to the fact that materialism, scientism, enlightenment principles are not enough. It creates a lack of meaning. It creates a control mechanism. It's happening, and the mainstream media is having to respond to it in their own special way to try to guide people away, of course, from the truth, which is the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're continuing our series of episodes here to understand, illuminate the broad meta, not only in specific sort of headlines about what's going on in the world, getting sucked into the news cycle, but let this open up our understanding to everything that we'll be seeing communicated by the mainstream. And part of that has been wonder and awe, the mainstream admitting that there is a lack of meaning, that wonder and awe is missing in the modern world and is a source of all of our problems. Of course, as Christians, we also value wonder and awe, specifically fear of the Lord, which is reverence and awe of God, which is available to us at all times. But wonder and awe being a very special tool for controlling a population who is insisting that there is something spiritual going on. And Time Magazine's getting it in on it now, okay? This is spreading far and wide. And Time Magazine has an article says why you should seek out a few minutes of awe every day. Harmless enough, right? Harmless enough headline. It's not getting too freaky deaky. It's not getting too heady. This is very like sit down, suburban mom can read this and go, actually, this is what I need, right? Very accessible to a normie. It says, you don't need to book a flight to see the northern lights or watch a total solar eclipse to experience awe, which is telling a truth here. And the truth is, it's been a misunderstanding in culture and through the generations here, that in order to experience something transcendent or something bigger than just your boring life, there's gates to it. There's obstacles, right? Economic. If you can't pay for a flight to see the northern lights, you're locked out of awe, right? Only the rich or the whatever. And in this time of economic woes and uncertainty, the mainstream popularizing of accessing awe and wonder without paying money is very, very relevant to most people these days. So right off the bat, a good start. You don't need to book a flight to see the northern lights or watch a total solar eclipse to experience awe. Time Magazine with a great typo there. All you have to do is look up at the sunset, down at the veins of a leaf, or deep into your morning coffee. Parenthetical, really. Jennifer Stellar learned that last one from a stranger. While running a study in which people logged their daily moments of awe, she noticed something odd. One participant reported far more moments of wonder than anyone else. Stellar, an assistant professor of psychology at the University of Toronto, went looking for an explanation in the participants' logs and found the simple act of adding milk to a cup of coffee. Every day, they, quote, stopped for a minute and watched how it swirled around and made this beautiful pattern, she recalls. Meanwhile, Stellar was barely noticing her own morning cup. Quote, I'm just pouring my milk in, chugging it, and doing other things. Yeah, you and me too, Stellar. I get it. She says, quote, and here they are taking a quiet, small moment of having an awe experience. That participant was onto something. Actively seeking out awe turns out to be one of the most powerful and overlooked things you can do for your health. So putting it into the context of health is very interesting. Of course, we, in our more fringy and weird examinations of transhumanism, mark of the beast, technological scientific progress, of course, they always put it into the context of like, no, we're going to help your health or we're going to heal somebody. Yes, mRNA gene editing technology or Neuralink or all the most dystopian technologies are always presented as like, No, it's for your health. Okay, so let's do it. Don't think about all that other stuff. It's all for your health. And now this recognition by the mainstream, who previously would like you to know, like you to think that all is material, nothing is supernatural, there is no awe and wonder. It's just a thing. It's a function of your brain. There's nothing else in this world than what you see around you. Are turning around and going, uh-oh, people are noticing the lack of meaning, wonder, and awe, and this is drawing them to God. What do we do? Well, just say it's good for their health to just stare into their cup of coffee, okay? They don't need to pray. They don't need to seek God. They don't need to do these types of things. So another targeted campaign for a slightly different crowd here. Subheadline, what awe actually is. Okay, here we go. Awe is one of those emotions you recognize the instant you feel it. It's the feeling you get, quote, when you encounter things that are vast and beyond your frame of reference. You mean like God? Okay. Says Dr. Keltner, a psychologist at the University of California, Berkeley. That's who I want to trust with all my deep and abiding truths, as a University of California, Berkeley professor. And the author of Awe, the new science of everyday wonder and how it can transform your life. Woo!
So okay, so yeah, they're selling a book. Always something else.
He's identified
Always
a set
something else.
of reliable sources that include nature, music, visual design, birth, spirituality, and moral beauty. Moral beauty is an interesting version, interesting category there. They'll get into it. Moments when we witness extraordinary kindness, courage, generosity in other people. People often experience awe while listening to a symphony, he says, watching an athlete do something seemingly impossible, holding a newborn baby, or hearing thousands of voices join together at a concert. But awe also turns up in moments so ordinary, they're easy to miss. The way sunlight filters through the trees, the rustle of leaves in the wind, the intricate geometry of a snowflake. Stellar thinks of awe as something, quote, so extraordinary that it defies comprehension. She often explains it on a more visceral level. Quote, you see something that gives you goosebumps, she says, and you find yourself going, whoa, or wow, and your eyes widen and your mouth opens a bit. If you've ever made that face, you felt it. I love how they're saying, yeah, everybody knows awe. You know it when you feel it. And then go into trying to explain it. Like, just in case you've never felt awe, here's
Well,
what it's like.
I mean, if you're a Time magazine reader, that's not
Possible
analyzing
you've
it like
never
we are.
had a big feeling in your life.
Well, no, not that. But they would have to give an example of like a very
grounded.
lowest common denominator example, so people can be like,
And
"Oh
that's
yeah, they're
exactly
right.
what this is.
I have experienced awe. I had it yesterday when I saw the moon," or whatever it is, right? So it's
Great point. Because
relatable.
yes, from our perspective and those of believers and people who really have understood awe, you know just how big, life-changing, spiritual, sort of heavenly, inexplicable, numinous, liminal, these huge, big words to try to explain the spiritual experience of like coming in contact with God,
Mhm.
but they have to put it in like a Monday morning reader Time magazine kind of way. She finds some of her own most powerful moments on her walk to work. When Toronto's maple trees erupt into color each fall, quote, I think people make the mistake of sometimes thinking it has to be really big things. They're like, oh, I have to go see the pyramids, she says. In reality, awe is often hiding in plain sight. The challenge isn't finding it, it's slowing down long enough to notice. The benefits of awe, Gons. Here we go.
Great.
This is why the age of re-enchantment needs to be put into layman's terms, because there's benefits. Awe doesn't just feel good in the moment. Researchers increasingly believe it can shape our mental health, relationships, and physical well-being. Just a few minutes a day is linked to less stress, anxiety, depression, lower inflammation, less loneliness, and more generosity and connection. Researchers have found, quote, I don't think there's anything you can do that's better for you than a few minutes of awe, Keltner says. Well, don't let Big Pharma hear you say that, Time magazine. You got all these people on SSRIs and medications for their stress, anxiety, depression, inflammation. You better be careful. If can help with all those things, they're going to have to shut it down.
I actually think that you can keep going here, but I think big pharma, this is also an indication culturally that big pharma is in a transition phase.
Well, and what's unspoken here is pharmakia and psychedelics, which big pharma is trying to take over, right? We've been tracking how psychedelics is a category of pharmakia that big pharma is trying to grasp hold of. We've talked about through the Burning Man lectures and the cultural movements to bring psychedelics into the structure of big pharma for the good of society. And what's unspoken here, but is apparent in our many years of studying this exact thing, is that psychedelics are a switch you can flip to experience awe, right? Whether it's DMT, mushrooms, ketamine, whatever it is, that's kind of the whole point, is that you can get a few minutes or a few hours of awe that changes your life forever. And so take pharma's, mushroom pill, something like that. One reason may be what researchers call the small self. Awe shrinks you in a helpful way. The feeling is partly about thinking less about yourself and partly about feeling connected to something larger. Stellar describes it as a release from that noisy ego that's always in your head, talking about stuff generally, not saying the nicest things. Unlike shame, which can also make people feel small, awe doesn't trap you inside your own thoughts. Instead, it directs attention outward towards something larger than yourself, which goes against every instinct that the secular world has ever tried to pound into our heads from the moment that we were born, was that we are the largest thing. We can be as gods. Our pleasure matters most. Our destiny matters most. Don't care about anything or anyone else. This is what the entire materialist world, going all the way back to the garden, is trying to convince people of, because it's the most effective way to draw us away from God. And now, awe, which they admit is trying to draw your wonder outside of your own power or whatever,
it's your own
God,
self.
Your own
but they
self.
won't say God. They'll
of course
it's something
not.
transcendent, but it's not about
But again,
a creator
even,
or a higher being or anything like that. It's literally just something more than yourself.
And yet they say, do it for your health.
Do it for yourself.
Your
I was gonna say
it's very clever.
This article is sort of saying that awe is going to rescue you from consumerist culture, like sort of our shallow consumerism.
Oh, they're not
culture.
even saying that it's going to rescue from there, right? They're not saying the words that.
Well, they're not saying the words rescue, but
admit the poison of secular materialist modern culture, right? So they're kind of trying to loop it in as a way to withstand modern secular poison.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They know that the problem exists, right? And it's as if, hey, when I say rescue from consumerism, not in a sense of like forever rescue, it's actually a misdirection, because a true rescue from consumerism is to connect with God or the divine or something like that. But instead it's, no, this is for like self-help. It's self-improvement culture. It's to help you, like, hey, you go beyond yourself so you can help yourself. Kind of thing, right? It's like this complete misdirection.
To help you cope,
so
that you can continue to exist within the consumerist culture, right? The material.
It's a rebranding of the.
It's a medicine. It's trying to loop it in as a medicine to so you don't come up to the point where you go, oh my gosh, I need to leave materialist, secularist, scientistic. I need to get out of here. It's the problem. It's the source of all my biggest problems with meaning and numinousness. I need to get out of this culture where they are prescribing a lesser form of it as a way to let you endure in the suffering of secular materialist culture, right? It's locking you in.
Well, they're not defining things that are
much like SSRIs don't cure you of your mental health. They help you cope with it so that you stay in the cycle of your mental health and you never get off the SSRIs, right?
Yeah, well, they're using words like transcendent and vastness and spirituality, moral beauty, and
Mhm.
things like that. But they're not really defining what those things. What do you mean transcendent? Because
'Cause you'd
getting
have to
on an
talk about God.
application, well, that's what I'm saying. Getting on an application on some app is transcendent of yourself. It's
Mm,
beyond you.
mm.
Humanity itself is, nature is, the cosmos, your local community is, God is. Like, what are you talking about when you say transcendent? So there's not like a clear target here. This is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
misdirection.
It's a very clever way for people who are realizing they're becoming re-enchanted. And I'm talking about, not your Canarian or not even your
Right. It's the
believer,
general public here.
just a general materialist public sensing the re-enchantment around them, becoming re-enchanted themselves, seeing this and go, oh, okay, that sounds like what I'm looking for. Oh, okay, I can just get in my cup of coffee and then I can go on living my secular materialist day, right? It's this trap to keep them in. It's like a pill you
Yeah.
can take every day for your health, right? A moment of
Yeah.
awe and to call me in the morning. Is
Yeah. Yeah. This next paragraph I think is very telling, and I'm troubled by it. So go ahead and
yeah.
read it, and I'll
Not
react
exactly
to it
sure
here.
where you are on here, but where I am is awe doesn't change how people feel about themselves. It
Oh, here we
changes
go.
how they relate to others. Researchers have found that the emotion often gives rise to what they call self-transcendent feelings, including compassion and gratitude. Quote, we really prioritize the needs and feelings of other people, says Virginia Sturm. Now put this in the context of the Mercer box, right? The empathy machine of in Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, another
Mhm.
dystopian, technocratic novel, prophetic novel, of course, where they recognize, like, oh, empathy, human connection, this is the transcendence that you need. And in that book, you could hold this box and it would flood you with empathy and the experience of others and perspective, and you get this transcendent feeling that you're searching, but it existed to give you that ounce of it every day so that you can put down the box and go back to your robotic beast system thing, right? As a clever magician's trick to keep you from finding an ultimate eternal transcendence in
Right.
God, right? It's,
Right.
it's, it's very clever that way. Um, a professor, blah, blah, blah. Let me see here. Because we feel kind of small and more connected to the larger universe. Kelter says he's been struck by how many people seem to be searching for awe. Oh, you see that? Seems like Keltner, the professor at the University of California, San Francisco, is also noticing how many people seem to be searching for awe now in the age of re-enchantment. Quote, awe is, in some cases, what's sublime about life, Keltner says. He knows that he knows what its absence feels like too. After his brother died, Keltner found himself awe-deprived and struggling. To put him out of that state, he began deliberately seeking moments of wonder throughout the day, a piece of music, a striking sky, a meaningful conversation. Now it's a habit. I practice it every day. It's a habit, Guns. It's just a good habit to be in.
Yeah. So again, it's a little bit sad, I think, to peer into the mind of the, I guess, secular world or mindset, in that, because I think as believers and here on the show as Canarians, we're always talking about the greater cosmic level stuff going on. So we're always in this state of awe of like, whoa, God is
I
crazy.
experience awe every episode lately.
Every episode, I mean, I go throughout the day and experience it all the time, whether I'm looking
Yeah.
up at the moon or my son is talking, like I have it all the time. So
Oh,
it's this daily thing
floor
as a
exhausting.
believer. Yeah, well, I have children. I mean, that's that.
As a whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, it's a whole thing. It's like there has to be a God because yeah, this is not my doing. So anyway, so yeah, we experience awe in all sorts of contexts, but for this author, for this individual Keltner here being quoted here, of course, a death of a family member or a brother or something can be very depressing. But to say that they are awe deprived and struggling, if you don't have that connection or at least that mindset or perspective that, wow, every day is a gift, every breath is a gift, every moment is a gift from God. Yeah, you're going to be awe deprived, and you have to force yourself to find it in a piece of music or a sky or something. And to me, it's like, it's kind of sad. It's you're missing out, man. You're missing out on God's gifts in life.
And awe is an everyday, normal, inexplicable part of seeking God and being a believer. It becomes it's part of what changes in your life, that changes the way you see and experience everything. And I'm not saying it's perfect all the time, but it's something that we as believers get access to in a way that others need a UC Berkeley professor to invite them to, instead of a direct connection with God through Jesus Christ. All right, so how, Gons? Let's get into the how, because this is hilarious. This is why the impotence of secular materialism, recognizing and trying to prescribe awe, is just a joke that God is playing on everybody. It's hilarious. I cannot get away from it. How to experience more awe. The good news is that awe doesn't require special training or even a spectacular setting. In one of Sturm's studies, people were asked to take a weekly 15-minute awe walk. Here you go. Here's your prescription. Secularists, take an awe walk for 8 weeks, once a day. Oh no, even weekly, one 15-minute
just once a week
for once a week for 8 weeks. The instructions were remarkably simple. Look at the world with fresh eyes, pay attention to the details around you, and engage your senses. People could walk in cities, suburbs, and countrysides. The point wasn't the route, but the mindset. Now, I mean, listen again to the impotence of this. We are just explaining how, as a believer, you have access to this just inexplicable awe in every little moment of the day, where God's eternal awesomeness is present in just the simplest things of life. It's hard to escape it at some point, in your Christian walk. And the secular prescription for people is to say, okay, you don't want to overdo it, people. Look, if you're struck with wonder and awe throughout the day, you might overdose. You'll miss work. You won't be a good cog in the wheel. Okay. So you're going to want to really dose your awe out to about 15 minutes a week.
This really is the Mercer box.
It is.
Truly. This really is. It's like, get this sort of transcendent eternal connection for about 15 minutes. You can go back to your mundane slave life.
So much awe that you realize that the beast system, ruled by the adversary, the power of the of the air, is the principalities and powers are ruling over you, and they control your mind, and they affect every moment of your draining you of the essence of what God wants to give you at every living moment. We don't want you experiencing too much of that, because then you'll be no good to the system. Okay. So don't worry about that. Just 15 minutes a week. That's what you want to do. Just enough to keep you from, not jumping off of a bridge and showing up for work. The instructions were remarkably simple. Look at the world with fresh eyes, pay attention to the details around you, engage your senses. People could walk in cities, suburbs, or the countryside. The point wasn't the route, but the mindset. Sturm practices the exercise herself on her walk to work. She sometimes catches herself mentally running through her to-do list. Then she redirects her attention outward. Quote, I remind myself to look at the leaves, to feel the breeze on my face, she says. Here are a few other ways to invite more awe into your life.
Okay. I will give them I'll give them like a little crumb, because you asked my wife, why didn't you get this done? It's normally because my mind is thinking about some cosmic thing, and I'm supposed to be thinking about my honey to-do list, and I forget about it. And then I don't bring home the cabbage or something.
I hear you. That's why
I can understand
of Christian ascetics and monks and people who become so enraptured in awe by God and things eternal that they're no good to society.
We are called lazy,
Hide
all
away in a
kinds of terrible.
cave.
Yeah,
They
okay,
devote
yeah.
themselves to prayer and
There's
fasting.
a balance, okay.
And things can get a little hard. All right. So here's their how to get awe, which is not bad. I'm not saying it's bad, okay? But it just is what it is. So figure out what makes you say whoa. For some people it's for some people it's nature, for others it's music, art, sports, spirituality, or seeing the world through a child's eyes. One of these things is not like the other. Music, art, sports, spirituality, or seeing the world through a child's eyes. Quote, I've encountered people who are like, music doesn't do it for me, Stellar says. Quote, some people are like, I don't like nature. That's fine. The goal isn't to force yourself into someone else's view of awe, she says, is to identify the experiences that reliably leave you feeling amazed. Think small. One of the biggest misconceptions about awe is that it requires a bucket list experience. Keltner practices awe in little ways by listening to music, taking in the sky, or pausing really to look at another person's eyes. Quote, you don't need to go to Burning Man.
Hey, look at that.
It's a day. A little Burning Man shout out.
There's too many Christians preaching the gospel of Burning Man now. It's no good to you. Don't go to Burning Man.
As Carl Teichrieb describes Burning Man as one of many transcendent experiences, these rituals in society where people can come, experience awe, and then get back to their daily life. This part's great. Screens count too.
I was going to say,
don't worry, you can doom scroll and watch Netflix and feel awe. Researchers regularly induce awe using short videos in the lab. Short videos? I just went on a whole rant last Thursday on Canary Clubhouse about how short form video is the devil's most ingenious invention. And this is how you know that Time Magazine is on some real diabolical misdirection here, saying that short form video can give you the awe, the transcendent awe to fill the gaping hole in your spirit. Researchers regularly induce awe using short videos in the lab, nature documentaries, future footage of extraordinary human achievement, and other awe-inspiring scenes can do the trick. Quote, people love nature programs because of awe. I mean, I can't argue with that. If anybody's interested in some nature stuff, I've been popping on, I don't even know what it's called, on Netflix, which I don't actually watch it on, but that's where it's there. I just type in nighttime animals, and there's some awesome nature documentary series that is just like your regular everyday nature thing, but it's all at night. So it's all in like thermal imaging and like really funny. Anyways, go check it out.
I think you and my son you'd spend a lot more time together.
I think so. I think Uncle Bash
watching that stuff.
We can just sit and watch some thermal vision of pumas running around in the grass. Keltner says, whether it's a BBC Earth episode, a rocket launch on YouTube, or an Olympic athlete accomplishing something remarkable, the feeling can still register. Which I'm not going to say is totally false. Of course, I'm making fun of the way that they're explaining it. But it's not, I would say it's not the video inspiring awe. It is the numinous thing that the video is revealing to you.
Right. I was going to say
visuals of a rocket launch, but it's the idea of like, whoa, what a big, cool thing somebody did.
So yeah, I'm trying to distinguish between the dopamine hit and awe. Like,
exactly.
Is there a distinction here, or are they just saying it's the same thing?
Perfect thing to point out, because that is a lot of what they're actually describing here, right?
Yeah,
when you and I talk about awe, and the awe in the context of the age of re-enchantment, again, is something ineffable. I mean, it's so big, it has to be God. It is the God in our lives that so many are missing, that is drawing them to be re-enchanted and seek out awe. And what Time Magazine here is saying, yeah, that little dopamine hit from scrolling your phone, that's awe, okay? Don't worry. You scroll enough short form video, you're gonna get the awe that you need, right? I mean, again, totally diabolical.
Crazy. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna keep speeding through because we have a great thing right after this. Pay attention to goodness. Here's that moral
Or we're
part. which
skipping
again,
awe as a reset button.
oh, sorry, I won't skip it. Use awe as a reset button. You don't have to wait until you're relaxed to seek out awe. Some research suggests it can be especially helpful when you're stressed. During the pandemic, Keltner's team asked exhausted healthcare workers, many of them working long shifts in chaotic hospitals, to pause for a moment and think about something that had made them go, whoa. Some, for example, described a patient showing extraordinary courage or love. Even that brief exercise helped reduce anxiety and loneliness. The lesson, awe isn't just something to enjoy when life is going well. Sometimes it's exactly what you need in the middle of a difficult day. Again, it's what you need in the middle of a difficult day so you can get back to work, slave.
Seems like they're redefining awe.
They're redefining awe.
continue.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're redefining it as something that you can achieve by scrolling on your phone. Pay attention to goodness. Nature is the most obvious source of awe. But Keltner says one of the most reliable is actually moral beauty. Okay. Now, take this in the context of the moral relativism of the secular world, of the postmodernism. Do ethics and morals exist? This is a core argument for God, but also a core topic for humanism, right? We as humans can decide what's moral and ethical. When people exceed our expectations for kindness, again, exceed our expectations for kindness, courage, generosity, or grace, one of the prompts he often uses is, quote, "Who inspired you today?" The answer might be a stranger helping someone in need, a friend showing up when it matters most, or a person facing hardship with remarkable resilience. All good things. Stop treating awe like dessert, Gons. Many of us think of awe as a reward, a special experience reserved for vacations, concerts, or other occasions. Stellar argues the mindset gets it backwards. Rather than treating awe like dessert, we should think of it more like a vegetable, something beneficial that belongs in your everyday life. Quote, "It should just be on your plate," she says. After all, the person who reported the most awe in Stellar's study wasn't trekking through Patagonia or chasing eclipses. They were standing in their own kitchen, watching milk swirl through a cup of coffee. So there you go. You've got the pharmaceutical grade, secular suggestion. If you're feeling that eternal draw towards God in this time where it's becoming undeniable that there is a supernatural reality to us and who we are, all you got to do is just find these little moments so you don't go too deep down the awe rabbit hole and find God on the other end.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of trouble with this moral beauty thing.
Yeah.
Because the way they describe it here, and maybe, they only have so many words, but they just seem like they seem to be, acts of courage or these inspirational things. A lot of that is just emotional type things, and a lot of emotions can be manipulated.
They're unreliable. Yes.
Yeah, they're unreliable, and they can be manipulated for a much darker purpose. I think about commercials in general, or advertising in general, as you create this sort of awe moment in commercials, like, wow, I want that, or I think I need that, or something like that. But it's ultimately to, get a few bucks out of you and get you hooked on whatever. So it's I don't know, this like moral beauty thing is it's not very well thought out, I don't think. And it's commoditizing morality, and that, there's a lot of problems philosophically with this whole moral beauty concept when it comes to the commoditizing morality and packaging it as awe.
They give it away.
That they need to,
They give it away when they say, the moral beauty part is when someone exceeds your expectations emotionally.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There you
Not
go.
admitting a moral foundation from a loving God, not admitting a supernatural reality of good and evil, None of that. It's just when someone exceeds your expectations for kindness or something. And depending on what your expectations for kindness are, which I would say in the secular and materialistic worldview, your expectations for people's kindness is actually quite low, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is very low. Yeah.
So they're setting a really low bar for awe, which I think will is I was gonna say misdiagnosing is not quite right, but misdefining what awe actually is. Because if you can feel that little dopamine and you go, oh, that's awe, right? Then you're gonna stop looking deeper and deeper or higher and
Right.
higher for the true source of awe, which is God, the supernatural. These sorts
Well,
of
the article kept saying like it asks things that make you go whoa, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to flip that on its head. Isaiah 5:20. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, because any act can appear moral or appear beautiful or courageous or compassionate or something like that. But
Yeah.
if there's no truthfulness to it, if there's not
Yeah. Made
righteous,
medical assistance in dying in Canada,
yeah,
to
there you
some
go.
considered like is considered
Compassionate,
empathetic and compassionate beyond, right? And
right?
so by the
Assisting
standards
suicide.
of this definition and by the standards of the materialist world, somebody euthanizing their grandpa can give them a sense of awe, of relativistic moral beauty, right? Which is
Right,
just
yeah.
pure evil.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now, look, this is wonderful for us in our ongoing, talk about the age of re-enchantment to help us all understand so we're not misguided or tricked when it comes to the plans, the strategies of, the devil and the mainstream media and the cultural shifts that are going on in their attempts to guide people away from the truth of what's actually going on here. Now, I want to tie this into the UFC fight at the White House. Okay. Didn't think I was going there, did you, folks? But this continues to be a topic of conversation, a lot of things being revealed and a lot of responses. And I'll say this, just to dive right in. In the past couple days, of course, it's a big part of my job to listen to all the podcasts. It doesn't matter which it is, whether they're socialist or red pilled or whatever, right? Listen to about, somewhere between 8 and 16 hours of podcasts every day, just to really have a kind of understanding where the conversation and where the culture is at. Because, of course, the podcastosphere, alternative media, is now as a weighty thing in mass culture as the mainstream media is now. And one thing I noticed over the past few days is every single alternative media conversation about the UFC includes the storm that was coming. The news was reporting it. The leftists were saying, we're praying for the storm to stop the UFC fight. We're doing rain dances to make sure that they get rained out. Already this supernatural conversation about how, that it is divine intervention that this thunderstorm is going to stop the UFC fight. Well, we know that it didn't stop the UFC fight, that right before the storm was going to hit the White House area, the storm dissipated and they were able to go right on schedule. This sacrificial ritual, this Greek play, this ceremony of ritualistic sacrifice of 7 fights of UFC gladiators on the day, on Trump's birthday, on the day when they decided the, deal to end the Iran war, et cetera, et cetera. If you didn't see it,
I saw
more about that.
I saw somebody make the
last episode. If somebody missed it, go listen to last episode.
I saw somebody make the reference of Trump turning 80 and then the 250, UFC 250, but also in line with United States 250 years. And you add 250 to 80 and you get 330.
Whoa,
Whoa, there's a 33.
all
Yeah,
there.
continue.
So all of them calling it a miracle, right? Secular, non-Christian podcasters, Christian podcasters, political podcasters, everybody saying the storm broke up. It was a miracle. One of them called it magical, but then corrected themselves and says, actually miraculous, right? They're all calling it miraculous.
Wait, hold on. Are these all these alt media podcasters
Lot of
that
them, yeah.
have gotten so popular? So what happened? I thought, weather manipulation, that was all getting exposed.
So
What
much
happened
less
there?
than I expected. The weather modification stuff is coming more from the leftists, right?
What?
Yes.
Oh
the
no,
leftists-
we've turned into Democrats. Is that what's going on?
No. The
Man.
leftists are the ones who, they were praying, they were doing rain dances, they were pleading to their pagan gods to rain out the thing, and it didn't happen. So therefore, it must be secret government technology
Oh my God.
that protected, right? Isn't that crazy? This
Oh,
crazy
they've
shift
swung the
that way?
pendulum.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, this is frustrating. Hey, this is
Part
why
of the re-enchantment is
it
some
is.
for
It
some, the
definitely is.
re-enchantment is spiritual reality, and when that doesn't work for some, the re-enchantment is conspiracies, and you're seeing this a lot on the left, having to find these ways to explain the unexplicable, which, depending on where you stand, if you were a secular conspiracy theorist, now you're a Christian or a spiritual person. If you are a leftist, Marxist, atheist, now institutionalist, believe the news and science. Now you have to call it a conspiracy theory. Everybody's just taking the next step right into the re-enchantment.
Oh man. All right.
Now, one of the things that is included in this is a photo, right? We showed the photo, the very powerful, expensive photo of the jets flying over the White House, the giant structure of the claw, just the $1 billion photo, very powerful symbology, imaging that just really said, we're back, baby, America's back. And that was a big deal. I want to show Michael Knowles, a Catholic podcaster, kind of related to the Daily Wire crowd here. He made a point, and he has this other photo. He says the president paid to get the epic flyover UFC photo, the one I just mentioned, and it was well worth whatever it cost, but stop to consider that he got this picture for free. And this picture is facing the other direction, away from the White House, and it is of the reflecting pool of the Washington Monument, the obelisk, the phallus of Horus, the occult image, the center point of the occult architecture of Washington, D.C., is standing off in the distance. The sky is orange at dusk, and the thunder clouds are circling the White House, and you see the Washington Monument, and behind it, a gigantic, very striking, if I use that word, lightning strike coming down out of the clouds and ending right before, in fact, it actually extends. It looks like lightning is striking the Washington Monument. I don't think it actually did, but the angle of the photo makes it look like that. But that's not all. A rainbow is also jettisoning over right past the lightning strike, straight up into heaven. And it's just this most, again, miraculous, amazing photo. The point Michael Knowles is making is that basically God gave this one to to Trump. This picture, that other picture was expensive and well executed, but this picture couldn't have happened without God's providence, right?
Okay.
And it's very, very intense. It's an amazing picture, and
It
very
is. He
striking.
has a knack for getting some really just incredible photos at his public appearances.
Yeah,
whether
well,
it's-
when you put on a ceremony with, 7 sacrifices or ritual sacrifices and blah, blah, blah. The storm is going to split and the rainbow will come out and the lightning will strike. It's all just very intense. And in fact, here was a response from Dana White, the president of UFC. He's on a podcast here, and he is mentioning, or he's asked about the storm separating right before. No, that's the Joe Rogan one. Don't do that one. There's the Dana White one. I don't know if you opened it up.
You
before.
added it. Sorry, I forget that you added a different one.
Yeah.
Adding links to the show.
I told you I added it, but there it is.
I know, but I'm just
very
saying.
important point. I said, hey, by the way, before we
I know, I remember. I'm just yelling at myself. All right, here's Dana White.
Yeah, there it is. So here's this one here. This is Dana White being asked about the storm splitting.
The Channel 7 meteorologist. Right. We have like the military, right? We got like the best guys in the world. We're absolutely positively getting hit. It's going to hit. So we got a team. We're ready. When it hits, we're going to get out there and clean everything up.
Can you turn it up a little bit?
And then we're going to
That's as loud as it gets.
At 9 o'clock. Okay.
Right.
I think it was 9 o'clock, between 9 and 9:30. Okay.
Right.
We're going to go after the rain. The storm comes and splits at the White House and goes around the White House in the ellipse.
Like divine intervention.
Well, the president believes that to his core, that, it was divine intervention.
I saw the radar images, Dana, and right, it's like a big ass storm and then it's like gone and then it's back again.
So my head of production, Craig Borsari, who is the absolute best in the business and a genius and a workhorse. He lost 10 pounds this week.
Yeah, we could have cut it a little short, but there you go. Saying right there, Dana White saying, "Oh, the president knows for sure that this was divine intervention."
That makes me think for sure that it was not divine intervention.
Well, that's the question, right? And if it was divine,
am I a liberal now? Am I just a progressive liberal?
Was it God? Was it some other divine intervention, or was it the government weather control thing to create the image, to create the narrative, to create the perception in the age of re-enchantment that God wanted the UFC fight to happen on the lawn? That's a good question. Now, to hammer in the point, there was, I do want to play a Joe Rogan clip, and it's about 4 minutes long. It's a little long, but there's a lot of incredible things in here because, some people might not be so interested, or they might say, okay, we get the points, ritual sacrifices, blah, blah, blah. But the reason I want to keep hammering this point and make the point with Joe Rogan here is not just because was it or wasn't it a ritual or divine intervention or whatever, but that this is like mainstream mass culture being either introduced or escorted or invited deeper and deeper into the age of re-enchantment, which, again, whether this whole thing was God or not, the powers that be very much see exactly what we're seeing and are playing into it, of course, probably in the hopes that they can sort of control it for their own whims of power, probably. Now, I will say, this clip with Joe Rogan, there's a couple of language warnings here. So for the kids listening and the parents, there's a couple of F words in here. We're not able to take them out or get it prepared before the show. So apologies for that. But just earmuffs for those who need earmuffs. And hopefully we can get this one a little bit louder. But this is Joe Rogan. He's going to start out by talking about the storm again, and listen to the words he uses when it comes to describing the situation with the storm. But then he gives some other details that we were not given by any other of the reporting. Okay, we read the Atlantic article. There are some details here that are new and also sort of dive even deeper into the point that we've been making about it. Okay, here we go.
What was the temperature? Make everything different.
It was perfect. No, the temperature was
Stop
perfect.
for a second. Sorry. Just one thing to note. The guy he's interviewing, the guy he's talking to on the show, is a guy related with the DMT-X experiments, the slow drip DMT psychedelics scientists, right? So this is right in the middle of a talk about DMT, about consciousness, about the spiritual world, the DMT realm, and also wonder and awe. Okay, this is a through line hitting every major conversation to the masses. Sorry. Okay, now we can go.
Was the temperature make everything different?
It was perfect. No, the temperature was perfect. I was very concerned about that. I was really concerned that these guys are going to have to fight in the heat, but that was not an issue at all. It seemed like it was in the 70s, and it was the storm like miraculously just passed us. Like there was all these weather warnings. At one point in time, the fight was supposed to start at 8 p.m. And at one point in time, one of the weather experts wanted us to start at 10:30. Yeah, because they were 10:30 at night, which would have been a disaster. 10:30 at night would have been a disaster because it's a 6-hour show.
Yeah,
or close to it, whatever it is. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. I guess it was 5 hours, but somehow or another, the storm just almost went around the White House. I mean, I don't know.
Mysteriously.
I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's science or if that's consciousness. I don't know what steered the storm or if it's just random luck. It could have been all of the above. But all my fears of the weather getting in the way of the fights were null. It didn't mean anything. And then there was this long sort of ceremonial thing where they had jets fly over and they played music and all this different stuff. So by the time we got to the actual fights, dark out, perfect, the weather was perfect, so that wasn't an issue at all. And it was just the magnitude of the event. I know people saw it on television and it looked insane, but the magnitude of the event being there live. So there's the event that's taking place on the lawn of the White House, and that has 4,000 plus people.
The main event.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the actual UFC. So there's a bunch of military guys that are standing up in the back. There's 1,000 of those, and there's 3,000 plus that are seated. All these people are seated. But then behind that, not that far, 100 yards, 200 yards, whatever it is, I guess it's more than that, maybe 300 yards. There's the ellipse. The ellipse has 85,000 people who got in for free. Yeah, it's like in the whole White House ecosphere, whatever it is.
Wow.
Yeah, so this area, they have giant screens set up, and they have, huge speakers and sound. And so 85,000 fans are watching the fights live on the screens, and they can see the lights of this claw dome in the distance, and they can see the White House in the distance where the fights are taking place, but they're watching it on massive screens with commentary. And it was insane. And you could hear them roar. So you hear the crowd from here, and then you hear 85,000 people. And it's fucking rah! You could hear it in the distance. It was insane. It was insane. Just the magnitude of it was insane.
Unlike anything else we've ever done.
Beyond. I mean, I'm a hyperbolic individual, and I'm always like, this is the greatest. This is awesome. That was the wildest experience that I've ever had in my 20 whatever years of calling combat sports. There's nothing even close. It was the greatest night of fights of all time. And it was the only night in the history of the sport where every single fight ended by a knockout.
Did they all?
Every single one. 7 fights. 7 fights. Every one of them ended by knockout.
Wow.
Which never happens.
Which is unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
Wow.
It was the perfect experience for anybody that had never watched the UFC before to see it that way at the White House like that. I mean, it was nuts. A huge experience for the fans that got to be there in the ellipse. And I mean, I have videos. These guys are having so much fun. And it's like everyone's in there for free. You don't have to pay for the tickets. There's 85,000 people out there. They're all screaming and cheering, and the drinks are flowing. And it was wild. I mean, just absolutely wild.
Okay.
And the guy ends there by saying, what a 250th, right? Drawing it back to the anniversary of the country, the reason for everything, the event being marked, right? These sort of ritualistic or ceremonial anniversary, the reason for the bigness of everything. And
that
so
guy,
go ahead.
The guest there he's one of these guys that's on a lot talking. I think he's ex-intelligence or worked with intelligence to do body language and how to like catch deception and all that kind of stuff. So he's on a lot. He's definitely out there. Did the bleeps come through?
No.
Oh, they didn't.
No,
okay, at least for the recording. All right, for the recording, I timed the bleeps perfectly so that it will be censored in the recording.
Good job. So a few things there. I mean, calling the storm miraculous, right? Again, and he's sort of confounded, saying, was it consciousness? Was it blah, blah, blah? Was it this? Was it luck? I don't know. Could be all of those things, hammering on this sort of same point. Describing, he's talking about the ellipse. We heard about the 4,500 people at the event, and you go, okay, that's kind of a lot of people. But then 85,000 people just close by in the ellipse. And that ellipse is the area on the sort of occult architecture of Washington. That is the area kind of surrounding or in the same zone as like the placement of the Lincoln Monument, of the Washington Monument, of the, all of the real sort of occult architectural power centers. That's where it held the 85,000 people. I believe that's where that was. And he's describing it as just the greatest night of gladiator battle ever, right? Like in the history, he's talking about the history of the UFC, but you put it all together, you've got everybody making a reference to bread and circus and the gladiator battles of Rome. And this, not even arguably. I mean, I think would be objective. You'd have to draw the objective conclusion that this was quite possibly the biggest, best, if you want to use that sort of scale, most intense, most just ritualistically or ceremonially valuable gladiator battle, violence display for entertainment and ritual purposes in the history of mankind, like since the garden, right? Which is pretty heavy duty when you think about it. And last but not least, he gives the detail. There were 7 fights, which we talked about last time, about the importance of in this ceremonial sacrifice ritual, 7 fights. And he says for the first time in the history of UFC or combat sports, it ended up in 7 knockouts, right? 7 actual ritualistic sacrifices. Nobody lost by points. Nobody lost by this. So just a complete execution of just the most esoteric event that I think we can even say has happened in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And of course, coinciding and bolstering, reinforcing this age of re-enchantment, where all the Joe Rogan guys, all the masses of people who are informed by alternative media across the board, everybody saying the storm was a miracle, it was divine intervention, drawing everybody wherever they are on the scale of the age of re-enchantment deeper into that, sort of solidifying it in a way could never have been done without an event like this.
Yep. Looking at the clock here, Basil, there's one more aspect to this event, and it's all the things, the awe, you can tell, the wow, the guy who was in the room there with Joe Rogan, the awe was palpable in all the various moments Joe was talking about, the details that weren't reported. But there's also one more thing. You got the weather, you got the crowd, you got the actual event with the bloodshed and the sacrifice, sort of ritualistic part of it. But also AP here, authorities say they disrupted planned drone gun attack on White House UFC cage fighting show. Just to reinforce that, like, hey, look, the FBI, I know nobody likes the FBI, but look, they prevented another attack.
Yeah, this perfect event that was the UFC.
Really is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It was absolutely perfect.
Saved by the FBI, by a band of leftist crazy assassins who planned on flying explosive drones into the event and then snipering people as they fled.
Yeah, I mean, it's too perfect. We've talked about, or No Agenda really highlighted this for years, and we've jumped on some of that too, which is the 6-week cycle for the FBI. I don't think it's 6 weeks anymore. It used to be where the FBI will have a story in the news. Oh, they prevented a bridge attack, or they prevented a terrorist attack, or something like that. There hasn't been a whole lot of that. In fact, the FBI has been pretty, I don't know, the skepticism, they have not had good PR in recent months.
They need the 6 week cycle more than they ever have. And
they needed a big win. So why not prevent?
The opportunity of the good press to save this most important event ever. And the timing is what is getting people all riled up too, because apparently they stopped and they arrested all these guys in transit as they were planning and traveling around the world, around the country to get there. And it happened 4 days before the event, and they didn't tell anybody. So they sort of secretly stopped this plot without telling anybody and waited till after the event.
Let's see how the event goes, and then we'll see if we want to piggyback on the good vibes to be part of the re-enchantment. The FBI even jumping in on the re-enchantment. So there you go.
That they are playing the hand of God and helping this event get pulled off.
The storm splits and the FBI prevented a drone attack.
It's a miracle,
come
miraculous.
On, God has to be, and has to have his hand over Washington D.C. there. I mean, there's no other options.
So there you go. Pretty heavy duty, man. Again, talk about awe and wonder. I have experienced awe every episode for quite some time now, and as these things continue to roll out and line up perfectly with what God has been leading us through for many years now, I am just in awe of the sovereignty of God playing out right in front of us. And much like how I had to describe the perspective in which I go to the movies and like watch Disclosure Day or something, is specifically as a viewer, a spectator, not to watch the movie, but to watch the sovereignty of God unfold in the series of events leading up to what we inevitably know the world is heading towards, and Jesus's return. So in that same perspective, I am just flabbergasted, not just by the event, but by its effects in the sort of psychological realm of control moving into the beast system here.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Big ol' shout out to all of our producers, whether they come in with their time, their talent, their treasure. I want to give a shout out to some of our producers who help us out with their time guns, of course, starting with the time stampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
You almost said timekeepers. You almost gave away the big secret. It's Jade Bouncerson who did the timestamps for episode 949. Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson.
Thank you very much, Jade. I wanted to make a mention. I forgot to make these announcements before, but the possible Norway meetup. If you're in Norway or you're going to be in Norway, I forget the date. I think it's this
21st.
Might be this weekend. This weekend in Norway. If you go to canarycry.support, you'll see an email to reach out. If you're going to be up there near Trondheim, Norway, I know it's pretty obscure for maybe most of our listeners, but you can reach out to castleeris@gmail.com. I would love a meetup in Norway. I would love to hear.
Sounds like a good time.
Pictures. It's beautiful. I want to give a shout out to Krillin, who texted the Canary Cry text message alert system. He says, "Good day, Canary fam. You've really helped me through some tough times the past 2 years. Glad to have you, Baz and Gons. Relating the current times to the Bible has given me a great perspective on how to react to life's issues." God bless you, Krillin.
Thank you.
And TDL Prez, who's been going through those real estate problems and the weird squatters in his house. He did send a praise report. I apologize. I don't have it right in front of me, but let's celebrate and give God praise for the incremental improvements in TDL Prez's situation.
All right. Amen.
Not all solved, but enough to give praise for. Thank you to the tech team for all that you do.
Yes,
thank you to Jam for heading up the Telegram channel. Thank you to Adam42 for heading up the Discord channel. If you want to join the Telegram or the Discord or canarycry.community, go to canarycry.party and you'll see invite links there. One more big shout out to everybody on the Canary Cry News Talk Watch Party voice channel going on in the Discord channel. What's up? Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clank for clanking, or Sir Clank, that is. And of course, Sir Ike for doing everything you do. And other than that, share the show, folks. Share with your friends, share with your family, share it with those who are being re-enchanted right in front of your eyes, because there are a million different ways in which the world, the power structures are trying to guide them away from where God wants them to be. So we call it rattling cages. All you got to do is walk right up to them and take them by the cage, and then you shake it.
Take them by the cage?
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted. I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! Don't ever silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Generation have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Right, just ask Noah. Guns, you got any last words?
Clubhouse tomorrow. Join Basil for that.
Yep.
Bible studies ongoing. Patreon.com/facelikethesun. Don't be racist on Friday for Juneteenth. Happy Father's Day on Sunday. And we'll see you again Monday.
Sounds
and
good.
It'll officially be summer the next time we do a news talk, Basil.
That's right. Shout out to Radio Sack in the Rumble chat. Says, thank you for your courage. Thank you for your courage, Radio Sack. And in the morning to everybody else. And thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. Until then, think outside the cage.
The beginning of the rise of the Antichrist.
That's on YouTube. That's on YouTube.
It reeks of an inside job.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I think I was psyoped.
Well,
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary Cry.